Hello, and welcome back to another episode of A to Z. It's me, your buddy Zero, and with me, I have Aaron Chase. If you guys have never seen this show, but for some reason decided to hop in on episode 30 or something, like a freaking weirdo, hi. This is A to Z, where we are the yin-yang of us, where I represent the yang. I'm the very positive airy-fairy, and Aaron represents the yin. We're very much similar as people, but our perspectives are different. And on this show, we talk about those different perspectives and whatever's on our mind today. And Aaron sent me a very interesting clip from what looks like TikTok from earlier today that I think he wants to talk about. So Aaron, take it away.
Hey Marcus, I'll get in the TikTok thing in a second, but we were talking about clothes and style last time, right?
Were we? I don't remember that at all.
No? Oh, then a bunch of other stuff has happened. We haven't been keeping up on this, Zero.
Yeah. Life.
Yeah, that's true.
Closing?
You remember when we were talking about how because you don't curse, that now people make a thing of it if you do?
Yes.
And then I was saying with the clothing thing, like I don't change up my clothes because every time I do, people make a thing of it.
Yes, you're right. Yes, I do remember this.
Oh, okay. I started changing up my clothes.
all that being said, I did it anyway.
Well, okay. What I realized was it wasn't that how do I put it? It wasn't that like I don't care about fashion, but I wasn't dressing like me.
Okay.
Like I realized like all the clothes I was wearing were either from like Christmas, which means my mom, my grandma were buying them, or it was from girls wanting to like play dress up with me and sort of mold me into whatever they thought was attractive, but wasn't necessarily comfortable for me. So I was out with my girlfriend, my bitch.
Stop flexing on me.
And I wanted to get new shoes. I wanted to get shoes that I was like, that fit what I view my personality. I actually got some here.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what these shoes are. You just bring up clown. They're just totally clown shoes. So this is who I really am.
This will be fun. What type of shoes do you think I think represent me? Like, what do you think would make me?
This is where I say we're a part of the same cloth, because I could care less about shoes. I don't know what a shoe. Here's how my brain recognizes shoes. There's sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
There's dress shoe. There's sandals, and there's Crocs.
Okay.
Those are the four types of shoes. And there's no brands in here. I don't know brands. These are all types of shoe. And boots. And cowboy boots. Sorry,
cowboy boots. So my mentality with the clothes that I started getting was like, all right, I want something comfortable, something simple, and that was my main thought process. So here are the shoes I got.
Sandals.
Here are the shoes I got.
Are those Tims?
No, they're Wolverines, I guess, but same idea.
Okay. And it's comfort you were going for? Comfort.
It's way more comfortable. It's weird. I didn't realize how much your clothes affect your own comfort level.
Oh yeah.
Because just because I was never given the opportunity to wear shit that I wanted to wear, really.
Right.
So I got these shoes. We were at the mall, and I put the shoes on, and immediately I was like, oh, the rest of these clothes need to go. I was wearing that polka dot button up that I have. You seen that?
Yes. Yeah.
So an ex got me that because that's what she thought was attractive. And as soon as I put on something where I was like, oh, this is more me, it was like, all of this is wrong. I just wanted to rip that shirt off immediately and throw it in the garbage. So I've been slowly replacing my wardrobe with shit that it feels like me. I feel way more comfortable. My stand-up on the street has gotten better. It's interesting.
What would you say if you had to define your type of your found style? What would you put it as?
Just a fucking dude. Like
I'm just a dude.
just super generic dude. Just generic guy.
Okay, what would you say your old style was?
I didn't have a style, so I guess it was
Slave,
is what?
whipped.
I guess.
That's
You know,
what
okay.
my style was.
Have you seen Joe Beltran's vibe with his clothes?
Recently, kind of, yeah.
He's a stylish guy. Like he knows where all the rips need to be, and he knows just how long the shirts and the scarves or whatever the fuck. Like he's a fashion guy, and
Okay.
that's how women were trying to dress me up as. Like that's what I thought fashion was that, and it's like no, fashion's whatever makes you comfortable.
Yeah.
So it's a good feeling. Yeah, it's a
Nice.
what's up?
I said that's nice. Another put that down under another. Aaron found out a thing about himself.
Yeah,
Clothes were also affecting him in general. It's
yeah.
also, and I was watching this thing, and I'm not. It's weird when you start talking about certain things that you watch because they come with so many airs. I find it interesting and also entertainment, but I don't find this too serious. So when I say what I'm about to say, I don't want people to get freaked out. But I was watching this MGTOW video, and he was, do you know what MGTOW is?
Mm-mm.
It's this, if you took incels and you went like up one level, you have MGTOWs, where it's like they say they don't hate women, but there's an awful lot of focus on how women are horrible and bad. And essentially, they're underlying. So the overarching idea of what MGTOW is, it's an acronym. It's men going their own way.
Oh,
And yeah, it's the whole movement where guys are like over women, and they're not gonna get married, and they're not gonna settle down, and they just live their life. Which I get that. That's fine. Do that. Yeah, be you. But like theirs is it's really steeped in.
before you keep going, that sounds
Okay.
like the equivalent of the All Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter people. There's where
There's some overlap. There is
the,
definitely overlap.
the issue isn't that All Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. The issue is that you made those groups in opposition to
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. And in MGTOW, it's women. Women are the opposition.
Right.
Where it could be just like, yeah, you live your life. You don't want to date women. That's fine. Like, yeah, you're going to hear about it sometimes where people are going to be confused. But that's as much as it has to be. But they make it into like, your confusion is you trying to put chains on me. Just women are trying to control me and poison my mind and take my money. They want my money and resources just so they can cheat on me and take my kids. Because all these guys, every dude on there is always worried about like women taking their kids. But it's like, A, you either don't have kids, or B, like why are you so concerned with being a dad? I don't know. It's weird. Anywho, the video that I watched, because that's the thing. They much like every movement has some points, and one of the things that there was this other video that was like going in on OnlyFans and how it works and all that stuff, and that was fascinating. But the video that I watched, this is all coming back to what we were talking about with clothes. One of the things that this MGTOW video was hitting on is that when you are a certain type of person, you wear a certain uniform. We all have a uniform that, like, because of the clothes you choose, whether it be because you didn't care or because you care or whatever, the thing that makes you comfortable does say something about who you are underneath it. So there's a level to truth to like the man wears the clothes, like the clothes don't wear him. But then there's another thing where it's like, well, if you're the type of person that likes anime,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a shirt with anime on it, you're probably going to get the shirt. And it says more than you like anime. It says, I like anime enough to wear a shirt about liking anime, because you can like anime and I'm like, I don't want to put Naruto on my shirt though.
Right.
Like I just enjoy it. And so it's very interesting to see, like, there is some truth. Obviously he went the dark way in the video, because he was talking about how like the signs of a messed up woman or that she has, like, tattoos and nose piercings and her hair is colored because, you know, those are signs of trauma. And like, usually that type of thing is a way of having control over a thing that you don't have control over. It was a whole to do, and it's all wacky and crazy. But yeah, there is a like air of like, yeah, you choose your thing. And I've noticed because when I was like looking online and I would just went down this rabbit hole of like, you know how you find people that are like you and you go down the rabbit hole of like, how does this keep happening? And like, we all had the same outfit. Like our wardrobe was like tiny bits off. Like you could tell all like, I saw this at Kohl's, or I saw this and it had like a Pikachu on it and I like Pikachu. And it's like that much level of thinking about it. And it was like, yeah, because we're the same. And so that was interesting.
Yeah, ultimately just one step closer to being whatever the purest version of me is.
Whatever that guy is, I'll find him.
It's been nice, man. The process of this. By the way, we need to stay more consistent with these.
With these?
Like doing it at least once a week. I missed that.
Okay. All right. I thought I was like you had taken that. I thought this is just me getting behind the scenes here. I thought you were taking that time, that step away to do your whole life thing. So I was like, yeah, you know, give him his space.
No, man. I want to do these. I like these.
Okay, all right. Just I thought you were going to say so. I was like, all right, we'll let the and it's again we got it backlogged like weeks. So like literally Nick Laney at the last open mic we just hosted the other night on Tuesdays, every Tuesday downtown Pomona. Every time I was at that and he was talking how he was watching our last episode. And our last episode that he had watched was you talking about your old notebooks. The episode I had you bring on the notebooks and read your old jokes. And I was like, that was a while ago. And so I'm like, okay, but we still have episodes like coming out where it's not like we're up against the wall and we need to like really stack them. But again, if you want to do this more consistently, that's more than fine. I will let you know my job is getting kind of like, because Christmas season and I'm a delivery driver right now. So it might not be on Tuesdays that we actually record these or my days off that we record these, but when off on time, it'll still get edited. For those of you who are watching this and really like our show, this will not affect you. The stuff will still go up around the same time. It might be a day off because I need to edit them and all that stuff, but in general, you'll be okay. You'll get the information.
How is the open mic going?
Slowly but surely, it's actually making traction. Like I honestly, I'm having a weird dichotomy, and I talked to Nick Pelias. Nick Pelias is the co-host of the open mic for those of you who watch this later. And I was talking to him, then just in general, we were just kind of in a circle about like how I feel about the mic. And you know, as a producer and most people who produced as a stand-up, that like a lot of people want me to like, and I say a lot of people, but I can feel it in the background. Whenever a comic comes who hasn't been to this mic, they'll usually suggest like, we need to tell more comedians that this is, so then they'll come out. So then we'll have an audience and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to tell more comedians. Like I like the level of like, we have a couple and we get to give, because right now the amount of time we can give people, because there's only like 4 of us, we just like let you go. Like you go up, you do your thing until you're done doing your thing. And then it's the next person. And yeah, that might take huge swatches. You might get audience, you might not get audience. But since it's so like just us, it's fine. And as we've been doing that, not only are people coming because obviously you don't get time like that anywhere, but also people are like stopping. Like a lot more people are like stopping by and actually watching like the full show, even though we sit at like 7 and it's nighttime and everybody should be going home. We have like more consistently we've been, and this isn't, again, I don't want to paint it like, and now 20 people are there every night. Like it's usually like rounds of maybe 2 groups of like, there's a couple and there's 1 other person. So like 3 actual audience members and then the 4 comics between me, Nick, and 2 other people. And that will be our audience. And then it'll like trade out. Like literally we had this one couple come and watch, and then they left, and as they left, this other couple happenstancely came up and started watching. But it's like that. So it's been going well by my standards. I think it's just growing slowly but surely.
Mm.
And innately, again, this isn't to say like if you're a comic, don't even bother. I'm like, please come out. Like if you want to do your time, please come do your time. I want like it to work out, but it's like I want to give you the audience that you want first, so then you feel like it's worth your time, even though I think it's worth your time just by doing the time. But like you'll come out and they're gonna come. If the audience is there, they're gonna come. So I'm not worried about comedians. Like I know they're gonna show up. And we have other artists too. There are musicians who show up sometimes. And it's like that's also nice because getting that outside perspective of like not performing for only comedians is cool. So overarchingly, I like it. I think it's a good time. I think it's fun. It does have its quirks because, I mean, you went to it the first time. It has that train that's behind us and that'll go off. And sometimes you just got to deal with it. It's just like a part of being there. So, but overall, good is what I'm saying.
That's the Zero way of doing things.
Yeah. Oh, which is another part of it. I'm the last. I recently we've developed this thing where I always end up going up last, but I like because I work on my material, and then because there's nobody after me, Nick just lets me go.
Yeah,
and I just talk and like I was like, hey, could you check my recording? I was to other Nick Laney. I was like, could you check my recording real quick? And he goes over, he's like, yeah, you've been going for like 40 minutes. I was like, oh, my bad. You guys probably want to go home because everybody's like being polite and watching me just talk. And I'm like, I appreciate you guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't talk about this. Biden won.
Biden did win.
Yeah.
Biden did win.
Or
and now we hate him too. I'm like, and okay, so which part of it do you want to talk about? The fact that we chose the lesser of two evils, or the fact that the evil that just was getting out of the house doesn't want to leave the house, which I didn't know you could do even, and just is the most him thing to do at the end of it all, to just go, nah, nah, I don't want to.
Let's get into that first. I mean, it's unprecedented. This is the first president in American history that has ever, like, I'm not going to leave.
And his people are just like, okay, yeah, we'll just not leave. Yeah. Like, but then other people within his crowd, like, who are on his side are like, we will make it a smooth transition. It'll be fine. It's like weird.
Right now, I'm not too concerned because of those people.
You're not too concerned about it not being a smooth transition?
I'm not too concerned about the transition because there are other people who are making sure that it will happen.
Got it. Okay, got it.
But if it wasn't for a lot of vocal people on conservative and liberal sides both being like, no, this will be a transition. If it wasn't for that, if every single conservative voice was being like a combative a bit against it, I would be really concerned.
Yeah, because there's definitely an air about it. Have you heard about which is another hilarious concept to me? There's so much, again, it's like the world gets more tragic is also really great for comedy, but also like in reality, it's not good. Did you see or have you looked into or heard about the million MAGA march, which I find to be hilarious because that group of people so considers like the black community like ridiculous, crazy, doing all this extra stuff. But I was talking to Dro about this. I was like, it's so weird how knowledgeable they are about black history. like that they would, because they're constantly ripping it and like doing their own version of it, which acknowledges that it had to have done something or worked or been beneficial and like makes sense for oppression for you to then go ahead and make your own and name it directly after that thing, but then to not acknowledge what the thing is like, it's so weird.
I think I've come to a place where I'm sure I'll have a spike of anger if something happens.
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely.
Yeah, my idling of anger is much lower now, and I think it's just because I've accepted that these people will not listen to reason.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember who we were doing the podcast with, but whoever it was talking about, I was being a dickhead, and I was like, fuck them. Fuck them. Whatever. And someone was saying like, well, you know, that's not going to change their minds, and if you approach them that way, they're not going to listen to you. But you've seen, you know, the way I will actually debate or discuss something. It's very reasonable. It's very open to listening to perspective, always with acknowledging perspective, and they never change their minds because these people are fucking savages. Like they're animals to me in a lot of ways. They just don't.
Very interesting. To that point, I was talking, it's crazy. I mean, it's just the time. So of course you're talking about it, but like, I was just talking to Drew about this morning too, is the election is so interesting because it wasn't, I don't know if you noticed this, but the election wasn't trying to change anyone's mind anymore. Like it was literally the only thing that was pushed during the election was go and vote. Yeah. Like just as long as you go out, whatever your belief system is, and it just, all it was both parties going, we need to get more people to go. Neither party was like, I'm going to put out a campaign that says like, that guy's not so great because here is evidence. It was like, no, I just need to make sure the people that rock with me go out in droves and do their thing. And that's interesting to me because usually you see like smear campaigns. You see like people trying to tear each other down, but like both sides were so automatically doing that already, and everybody had so locked into who they were going to vote for that it was like, you're not changing minds. Well,
I mean, if you've watched this debacle from the past 4 years, especially this year, and you have not already made up your mind, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's pretty clear at this point, in my opinion. And I'm having so many mixed feelings about our country right now, and like my neighbors, because I would walk around. This is when the election was ramping up.
Also, I'm sorry not to interrupt, but like, yeah, you said you live around a lot of Trump supporters. Did they put theirs down, or do they still like they're leaving them up out of the like, I'm gonna?
Two things.
Okay.
The thing is, I no longer live in the area I was living with my grandma.
Oh, okay.
So I live in a mixed community now.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So I would go Biden, Trump, Biden, Trump, Biden, Trump, or nothing. And it was interesting to see. And now there are still Trump things up, but it's a lot less. Basically, anyone that's insane, really insane, leaves their Trump stuff up. But it was interesting because like, this election in particular is pinnacle for history. And I'm walking through this neighborhood and I'm seeing these Trump things there's a lot of Trump stuff everywhere. It was like, oh, did you hear that?
Nah, I mean, she said something, but I didn't really hear it.
So it was like realizing like, oh fuck, I've had to grow up around you people. Like I see where your mind's at now. Like you're being very transparent. That first go around 2016, people weren't rocking with Trump so vocally as much.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And now they're loud about it, or they were. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I see you. I'm not in a place of forgiveness right now. Maybe in the future, but right now it's like, no, you've made it clear that my life doesn't matter to you, that the state, that the country being reasonable or run by anybody with any sort of mild, I don't know, understanding is just not in the cards for you. So I'm not fucking with you. I'm not playing this game with you anymore of acting nice with you.
Nice.
It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's a thing, like, because I have some friends who went on the support side, and I was very interested to hear their perspective. Don't get me wrong, obviously it got combative at a certain point, but then it's like, okay, like, because that does become the other side of the coin, right? Is that classic, we didn't exactly choose our best candidate either. No. Because of the hand we were dealt, and this is who we were, like, with, because it was either him or him, right? And everybody, that's why a lot of the criticisms right now of like Biden getting in is like, and now look at them turning on Biden. Now they don't like Biden so much. It's like, no, we weren't really like freaking like nobody was freaking like which was one of the things you guys were saying, is that we don't really like him, but like we liked him more than your guy, because your guy is scary to us. He's genuinely scary.
Yeah.
But again, the tables flipped and stuff. It's like, yeah, well, your moral standing, your social compass, right? It also has the wiggle room. If you're willing to give it to Biden, then you could understand how a person is willing to give it to Trump if your values line up with that.
I would say that when it comes to Biden, it's like that is all we had.
Exactly.
And when it comes to like, oh, your values line up. No. My values don't necessarily line. I don't know what Biden does anymore, but my values don't necessarily line up with him as much as it's like, this other guy is ruining the country. So we need to give it to somebody who can steer it into some normal level and then go from there. And
right. But that's where it starts to get muggy. At least this is what I've heard. This is me, second party, saying what I heard. So maybe they could clarify it more. But from what I understand from that side's perspective, is actually we're the same. Like it's meta. Both sides think the other side is being manipulated. So like the people who are Trump supporters think that Biden campaign people were like manipulated into thinking that Trump is bad when actually he's not bad. That like everything you've ever heard about Trump is always a thing taken out of context or messed around in a way that makes you go, oh, he's evil, he's bad. Like, okay, so one of the main ones, right? And it's a really interesting thing because it's a matter of like how much self-research everyone does. But it is the like I'mRight.com thing. But then you got to go to the other side of I'mRight.com and go to I'mWrong.com. And when you see I'mWrong.com and you are proven wrong, you start to like deconstruct your own thing. So one of the better examples, again, getting kind of rant out over the place, so I'm going to pull it back in. One of the main examples, one of the things that Trump said, very classic Trump thing, everybody was on board with, was the good on both sides. There are good people on both sides of the argument, right? And everybody heard that article and they went ballistic. And that's the only thing that people know. The only thing that people know is that he said good people on both sides. He must have been talking about the white supremacists versus the people who aren't white supremacists. But in the same interview, in the same quote that he said that, literally he clarifies it in the very next statement. And he's like, I am not supporting white supremacy. I am not supporting. But they took that completely out and nobody talks about it. And it's just that quote. And it's stuff like that, much like the COVID virus thing, it's like, what is the truth at that point? And so it's them hearing that information and thinking like, well, if that's not true, what else isn't true? And then they go down the rabbit hole, and the more untruths they uncover, the more it's like, well, then maybe he's not a bad guy. Maybe it's not bad. Maybe it's not what we think. Maybe it's not this. And so when you have that, and then also he's also the only person that aligns with your moral standing, with the things that you believe, because the Republican Party has nobody else going up against him. That's their only choice. When you've been proven that you've been lied to a little bit, you can kind of sidestep some of the other evils, especially when we talk about our guy, they don't talk about his evil stuff. They don't, the bad things he does, we all sidestep that by doing the same thing that he does with Obama, where when he does something wrong, he goes straight to Obama and goes, he did it too. And then we go, well, it's not like you dumb idiot. Whereas Joe Biden is like, I did a bad thing, but Trump does way worse things. So mine's not so bad, and all the things that get shoved to the side with that. And so I'm just saying from their perspective, they're thinking we're manipulated the same way we think they're manipulated. Right. We think that Trump is good when he's what he is.
I would say that for me, that I can only speak for myself here, and that is
Yeah.
I'm doing whatever is in the best possible version of my interest.
Exactly.
There is one hill I die on, and that is
Okay.
Black Lives Matter. My life matters. It's
Fair.
very evident that to the Conservative Party and the Republicans, they not only do Black Lives Matter, Black Lives fucking disgust them in a lot of ways. They hear Black Lives Matter and they're like, but you can't, but only I matter. You can feel it. And I would say the difference is, and this is why I don't like the Democrats, is Black lives are tolerable for them. So I'll take tolerable right now over disgusted with. And tolerable
Exactly.
is still fucking bad. And my issue with the Trump people is I have no problem saying, yeah, Biden's shitty.
Yeah.
He's bad.
Yeah.
They're all bad. Why are we still doing this with old 70-year-old white dudes in the first place? But they're excited, and that's what's weird. They were excited for Trump, and that's weird to me. And, you know, Trump, and I know the quote that you just brought up about the both sides, cool. He's given me so many examples of, like...
It is that thing where it's like, if we go down the rabbit hole of like, yeah, that one, okay, you found a misquote.
Yeah.
What about this? Oh, you found... It starts to get into, and this is where, again, this is back to me not speaking for my third party. It's, for me, it's it's all of the character things that he just shows that, like, why is it? It's kind of like the half joke that I've always made is like, it's like having an abusive boyfriend. It's like, yeah, when you keep going, like, behind closed doors, he's nice. You don't understand. He's just kind of an a-hole when you don't know what he's like. If people would stop lying about him and spreading all these untruths, then you would see he's a good guy. I know he says stuff that's wrong all the time, and words don't directly connect to what he actually feels, but like, trust me, he's such a swell person. If you just gave him a chance, you would see he's awesome. And it's like, no, because he's bad because he's bad. And it's like, it starts to be like gray area stretching things.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you've heard the other side of the other main thing that they go at, again, as if the election's still happening. But like, one of the other things that went on, right, was they'd go, Trump has done things for the black community in his 4 years more than Biden has done his entire term as being both vice president and senator. The whole time, he's never done anything. And he's quoted back in the 19 whatevers as being straight up racist. And then they go, but Trump, he said some racist stuff recently, kind of. But he's done things for the black community. And I haven't, again, I'll completely be honest with myself. I'm not going to sit here and act like I read anything about this particular argument. But if I had to take a shot in the dark, given this is the same guy that bought a bunch of McDonald's for some football players because he thought that's what they'd want instead of a nice dinner, I'd take a shot in the dark and say he helped prison reform stuff, not because the black community means so much to him, but because he probably has buddies in the prison system, or by helping the prison system, it helps his business because he's a business owner first, not a president first. And it's in his own self, in the same way that you're saying your self-interest in Black Lives Matter, his self-interest is in keeping his money right. Like, his self-interest is in being a business.
I just want to point out that we're hearing both people are racist and shitty. So how's that going to make me feel? Like, regardless, I could give a fuck. Yeah. So I'm in this place of like, I fuck them. Like, I fuck them. Like,
are we talking government in general, or whatever?
Our political system in general.
Okay, political system in general. Do you think anybody has a good political system?
Who?
That's what I'm saying. Like, do you believe there's any nation in our current world society that has a good political system? Or do you think that's just a part of the dice roll that is the universe? Our world as it stands right now, nobody's doing it.
I think that the world's never perfect. So you're never going to find the perfect political system. Okay. But I'm very confident that a two-party system is not a good one. So okay. I would say that there are probably, and I'm not educated in it, but there are probably better systems that are out there that we should adopt.
Oh, yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. I don't know who's doing it, but I'm sure somebody's doing it. And how we haven't gotten on that train. Or at least, like you said, just throw me one more real opponent.
More. Yeah.
Just one more person who does
it. It creates gray. It allows for another party to adopt a few things. Then everybody has to balance themselves a bit.
Yeah, like a relationship where you go like, hey, I have things, you have things. Let's come together and take our best qualities forward, and our worst qualities, let's leave those behind and just move forward. I don't know. To me, it feels like a what's the thing? I just had it as I was saying it. Coming together, neither here nor there. It's like you said, it allows for gray area.
Yeah, and then the place that I'm at personally, with my own identity and being Black in this society is like realizing just how manipulative and dark this country has been and for me particular, like how fucking scarred and traumatized I am. Like I'm still learning. All the roommates I live with are white. And I've had to come to this realization that with the whole code switching thing, I'm still figuring that out, all the stuff. Yeah. But I had to say to them, like, hey, just so you know, I don't think I speak normally around you. Like, I don't think I'm ever actually comfortable around you. And they're young, they're my age, and they're like, I understand, and I'm sorry that you feel that way. Like, I'm so fucking disgusted by our half of the country and knowing I had to grow up with these people. And so they don't care about me. Why the fuck should I be nice to them? Why should I be forgiving of these people? They can take these. You've seen Inglourious Bastards?
Of course, yeah.
I wish we could brand on their foreheads MAGA for the rest of their fucking lives because they voted for him in the same way that they scarred the dude with the swastika. I wish we could do that because these people took their signs down. And now, you can just kind of slide back into society and go back to whatever normal is for you.
Yeah, it's real. It's real smooth. Like it's real. It's kind of the not joke of like the difference between like the Black struggle and being like a gay person, where it's like you can pretend to be gay, but like not that that's good either. But still, that is a perk of like your suffering. Is like you get to blend back into society. I can't blend into not being Black. It's like again, it's branded on me, and so it's I get what you're saying, and I see what that is. It's very fast. Dang it! I keep having. I was gonna transition into. I think I don't know if this is where you were. I was drawing a connection. Stop me if you still wanted to talk about this, but. That code switching thing, that being around groups of people thing, that you being traumatized thing, swings into the TikTok that you sent me. That girl who, for those, I don't know if I'll really edit it in, but if I'm smart and I have the time and I can do it, I will edit in the clip that that Aaron sent me. But it's the two girls who are talking over some video chat via TikTok, and one is talking about how like. She has these fantasies that she puts herself in, and that she like listens to music. She goes deep down this rabbit hole of like daydreaming in a way. And she realized she learned and expressed that to somebody, and somebody was like, that's not normal. She learned that that's not normal. And it's like, oh, it's another mental disorder. And I'm interested to know what made you send me that? What did you have to say about it?
Because I didn't know. I knew that wasn't. As of recent, I have this more like, oh, I can see why that wouldn't be normal. But that's just how I've existed. This whole being present thing, first person thing, all of these tools that I've developed to stay in reality I'm realizing I have to work 10 times harder than everyone else to just be in reality. Like
Yeah.
I asked Will, I was like, hey man, are you ever present? And Henderson. And he was like, I don't know. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you're probably present then. And then I would ask people like, are you present? Are you like in this moment? And for them, it was like, I don't know. But then I would ask, I'm not like, I'll ask my girlfriend or some of those
Yeah.
roommates, and I'll bring it up to them, and they're like, oh, huh. And then you can see the wheels turning of like, no, I'm not relative to everyone else. I'm not. And
Yeah.
someone that thing said it like it comes from like child abuse and all this other stuff. I'm like, it makes sense that you're just not you. Eventually, you need to get to a place where you can't live in this world and not kill yourself.
They call it disassociation.
Yeah. And so it was worded in a way that was very eye opening. I was like, okay, that's probably also happening and is why it's so hard for me to be present. I've gotten better at it, but the fact that I had to, you remember when I was in the first person, third person phase of all of this? I talk about that a lot. I had to develop like real skills, tangible skills to stay even mildly in the moment. I had to do this. I had to do all of this stuff just to be able to have this conversation like a reasonable person. And now I'm in a place where adding all of those skills with meditation, with perspective, all the stuff. So I'm in a much better, calmer place. But I shouldn't have to do that. And so there's this like thing. I think it's even reflected in my stand-up for a while, where my stand-up was essentially me trying to explain to people why I was the way I was. Like, a good portion pre-COVID of my stand-up was just, here's my childhood, so you can, does this make sense? Because you feel crazy. You feel insane when you're living this reality that no one around you is living, and people are shitting on you for not like falling in line or being normal. And it's like, well, you're making it even harder for me to be me. So using the close as an example, like if people wouldn't, and we're around comics, that's what they're going to do. But this is even outside of comedy. If people would just let me fucking change my clothes without bothering me about it, like what would happen? Aaron, you need to change your clothes. Oh, your shoes or whatever the fuck. And then I change them. Whoa, Aaron's, and it's like, you're making me not want to do any of this. So then we're in this cycle. And now that this is the reason why 2020 is the best, worst year of my life, is in that now, because everyone has to be distant, everyone has to stay the fuck away from me, I can live my life and like be comfortable for the most part. It's nice. The end.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's all very fascinating. To go a little bit down the rabbit hole with this is I was gonna do the like smoking weed thing, but then I gave up on it, but I could not do the gesture, so my hand was just over here and doing like an OK symbol, which, by the way, apparently there's a group of people that think this is a white power thing.
It's a Proud Boy thing, yeah.
Which I find to be, okay. Which I find to be hilarious for several reasons, but mostly because, like, for me, completely side. Is it not hilarious to anybody that they call themselves the Proud Boys? like to me, it's like back in the day, you had like names. Freaking the Ku Klux Klan was a name that was cool and like you feared it. Like they were a clan, they were a group. The Black Panthers, that's a freaking dope name for a group that's doing something. Proud Boys? Proud Boys. Okay, neither here nor there. What I was saying, and actually, is going down the rabbit hole of societal pressures and putting things on you and traumatizing you. It goes deeper. And I think that's the thing. Gosh, dang it. I'm getting messages, and it's making my phone keep vibrating, and then it's on a balance, so it falls over. I'm crooked now. Neither here nor there. What I'm saying is, we're all dealing. So when you ask Will or all the people who are like that's closer to present, but it's this weird fool's gold of present, where there's like actual present people and they're like happy. Because I think full presentism, this is getting into my personal, like, this is how I view self-acceptance, enlightenment, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I have
when you're
10 minutes.
acting,
I have 10 minutes before work, and I have basically 5 minutes left.
okay, I'll super sum this up. Essentially, you're at a level of figuring out presentism from a level of abuse you are way, way down. So comparatively, yes, to the average person, you seem way less present because you have to do all this to be here in order to have a conversation, where everybody else is already here to have a conversation. But they are also lower on the present pole than a person that's actually present, like by miles, because actually present person is like happy to be breathing and they're not thinking at all. It's just they're so thankful and grateful that it's just like beaming, like you can feel it off of them from miles away. Like I think the most present people are people like Tony Robbins, like this weird, he's a self-help person, you could look at anybody, he's like weird levels of happy to the level of like, what are you on, like that type of thing. And it's just life, he actually like appreciates it. It's that kind of thing. And so we've all been pushed down because capitalism is not a thing that supports you being self-actualized. It's not good because you can't, it's hard to sell things to. If you figure out who you are and that you don't need things, how am I supposed to sell you stuff? Like it doesn't work. So we need you to feel insecurity. But that's just me. All right, guys, wrapping it up so Aaron can go do a thing. Again, thank you for watching. Those of you who are in the chat right now, we appreciate you for popping in. This one got very interesting today. You guys feel free to check us out. If you're watching this now, then you probably already found this, but you can find A to Z on the Buddy System Comedy YouTube page. It's the podcast that me and Aaron do when we can. I'm Zero Rimson. You can find me on Instagram, _KR Anime, or on YouTube by searching Zero Rimson. You can find Aaron Chase, guy over there, on Instagram at Aaron Chase 91. Also TikTok, Aaron Chase 91. Also, you can listen to his other podcast, ACMM, where he chronicles out his stuff kind of like a verbal diary. You can listen to him talk to Will on Night Guy and Baldy. Watch him interview people on the Buddy Cast. It's all good stuff, all found on the Buddy System YouTube page. Again, thanks for listening to us, Buddy System Comedy. We appreciate you. Laters.